Hi, I'm Melanie O'Connor, Head of Marketing here at BDO Ireland. I'm delighted to welcome both Leah Tarpey and Hannah O'Connor from the Leinster Women's Rugby team. BDO Ireland is the official business advisors to Leinster Rugby team. Delighted to have these ladies here, both whom were a part of the Interprovincial women's winning team last year. Ladies, congratulations. Would you share a bit of the journey to that win that you went through in the year?
Yeah, thanks for having us in, Melanie. Yeah, it was a fairly exciting campaign from us from start to finish, probably for the wrong reasons at the start. You know, we had all the great intentions of starting off our campaign with a win away in the West, away to Connacht. It's never an easy place to go, and it sure was the case on the day, because we actually ended up losing that game in the last few minutes of it, so definitely not the start we wanted. But after that, it kind of rallied us to get things together and get ourselves in gear, and we built momentum over the next two games and put ourselves back in a position to get into that final and manage to go down to Cork and beat Munster in their backyard, which was quite pleasing and very satisfying way to end the campaign with the silverware, yeah, for sure.
Great. How about for you, any highlights from the season?
Yeah, I just enjoyed all of it, really. I wasn't part of the first game. It was tough watching it from the sideline, obviously, but I think I really saw the connection when we came back into training the following week, like how, you know, that would spur the girls on then for the next few games, and we knew that we didn't want to feel like that again against Munster or Ulster, so I think it really drove us on, and
Definitely.
it was good.
Yeah.
As you touched on, things don't always go as you planned in the game.
Definitely.
What do you do to rally the team when things aren't going your way, and to turn around that momentum within the game or within a season?
I suppose in that game in particular, it was one that we had highlighted. So it's, you know, you'd highlighted it being as a game that's a possible banana skin. Like, you know, the men's team would find the same difficulty when they travel down to the sports ground or the down west, and it's a very difficult place to play, and we knew that going into it. But despite that, we still couldn't kind of, you know, gather the momentum to get across the line on the day. So I think in games like that, you know, if you could manage to swing it back around to work in your favour, you know, I think it's great. But if not, it was a case for us of, like you said, the week after, it was very much really honest, I suppose, reviews and learnings from it, that we needed to get everything else perfect in the next two games to put ourselves back in that contention for the final spot, which we did. So yeah, I suppose it's making the best of a bad situation and being able to adapt and overcome it, and I think we did that pretty well with the squad and the depth that we had.
And as you said about the reviews and everything, I think that helped massively over the weeks. Like, it's being able to take constructive criticism, look at your game and say, okay, what can I do differently to help the whole squad and not just yourself, and I just thought it was really beneficial that brought us closer together as well, when we could be that honest and open with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
I understand your coach Tanya is a big advocate for increasing the professionalism within the sport, mainly in terms of increasing the number of games across the year. Would you speak a bit to the journey that you've been on with that, and where you're at with the progress on it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Obviously, this year we've had two campaigns with Leinster back in January, and obviously during the summer. But as you said, like, Tanya is a big advocate, and as our Leinster, at promoting the women's game and putting us on a, you know, as a professional tier as we possibly can. And I think during the summer campaign especially, we were able to, you know, we weren't involved in club rugby at the time, so our sole focus was with the provincial side, which was brilliant to have those sessions, and we said, get our gym sessions in, get our conditioning sessions in, as well as the pitch sessions, to be able to do that together and kind of build that culture between the whole squad, and be able to get that time together on feet really kind of helped knit us together, like Leah said, about bringing everybody closer together, doing all your reviews and your previews together, and having the time to do that was that professional element. Because at the end of the day, like, as Tanya would drive, and as we mentioned the standards before, your provincial team like Leinster is the step below international, so you want to be constantly pushing those standards to make it feel as international a feel as possible, because that's ultimately where everyone is trying to aim to be the best players they can be, to give themselves opportunities to represent the national side after that. So it's pretty good.
It's games like that, like, it's games with Leinster, it's Interprovincial series that you really you learn a lot from, because as you said, it's the step below international level, so you come together with all, you know, previous internationals or club mates or whoever it may be, all different standards, and you really learn a lot. Like, for me, when I first came in, like, learning loads from the likes of Hannah and you know, Molly Boyne and all these girls, on the older girls and more experienced girls on the team, like, it was great to get that exposure to the high level that's, the standard.
You both had the opportunity to represent Ireland.
Yeah, it's been good. We've been very lucky, like, so. It's what you want to be doing, like I said, the dream is with Leinster and blue, and that's a massive privilege, and it's something that you definitely have to pinch yourself moments when you get the opportunity to do it. You said you watch it for so long of people gone before you, like Leah mentioned, and then to be able to do it yourself is fantastic, and to be able to get the opportunities, and it's through Leinster and the opportunities they give us, and like you said, those standards that Tanya drives and the coaching staff drive at trainings, it makes it that there's a less of a gap between an international stage and from provincial, and that's ultimately what you want to be doing. But the two of us have been lucky to be in that position. So
I got my first cap for Ireland before I got my first cap for the Leinster team.
Did?
So it was a bit of a weird one. I did kind of backwards, but
well, I suppose that says something to the standards.
But it was all in all, it was definitely like really didn't take away from my first cap with Leinster. Like that experience, like it was definitely a big moment for me. So
definitely.
It was great.
You've spoken a bit about the standards that you set without giving anything away in terms of competitive advantage with the other teams that you're competing against. Would you speak a bit to some of the specifics around that? Maybe some of the ones that have really helped you all up your game, because it's I know elite sport. You kind of, when you get to the top level of it, then it's these small little margins.
Yeah.
The higher you go, the more that is just looking for those small little things. The 1%ers. Yeah.
As you said, like the previews and the reviews, like before games, what's our goals? Like what are we setting out to do before each game?
Yeah.
And it's just having that clarity in the week of training beforehand.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly what we're setting out to do at the weekend.
Yeah.
And then it's going through it then after all together as a team. It's not just individual analysis. Like Tanya, she liked having us all there in the same room, looking at the same thing and talking through it. And as I said, it's just being honest and open with each other. And I think it brings us together in a sense like that.
Yeah.
It's that, we're pushing each other on.
And it is, as you said, it's that collective pushing each other on and that drive, but it's also, probably when you look back at our squad, you've probably got, you mentioned it, like you've probably 3 deep in terms of competition in every spot.
Yeah.
So like you really are, driving each other on to provide that feedback to make everybody better, but you're also aware that like if you don't do your job, that someone is right breathing down your neck to hop on and take your jersey. So we were really lucky, I suppose. Leinster, it's probably, now the other provinces probably argue different, but Leinster is probably the most competitive of squads in terms of the people that are there. Like there's, the cuts that happen during the summer, you're hoping that you make it through all of them and that you do your job enough to get through them and make the final squad. So I remember my first 2 years of, trying out for Leinster, I missed the cuts the first 2 years and then got it on the 3rd time. And luckily it's worked out since then for me, but it's never a straightforward path, but you're very relieved and grateful then when you get it to make the most of it. But I think the competition for places that's there is huge. It just keeps you on your toes, and it's that, as Leah said, like it's that feedback that everybody gives each other. You have to be able to buy in order for the full team to develop that the we is greater than the single person as well, which is brilliant.
It was great for me personally as well, because I had the likes of Sane and Aoife Dalton like for the centre spots as my competition, but it's like you want to see them do really well, but you learn so much from them as well, so it's great to have them in the same environment as you, because you just learn so much at training just by watching them, seeing how they interact with others, and
that's it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's great.
So you never kind of rest on your
No,
laurels.
definitely not. Tanya would have you. She'd let you know as well. She'd let you know straight away. Definitely. You'd be hauled out and everybody.
I hear that Tanya's a big advocate for building a high-performance team. So I know you've touched on some of that with some of the standards and the depth that you've got within the team as well.
Yeah.
What are some of the impacts that's had on the team, and how has it sort of impacted you personally as a player in the ways that you've been sort of inspired or encouraged to raise your game throughout the season?
Yeah, I suppose like the two of us have been lucky enough to be involved with international squads and setups, and as has Tanya, she's obviously represented Ireland at international level as well, so I think she knows what's involved in the step up between the provincial side and that, but as I said, she's a big advocate for it in terms of everything on pitch and off the pitch. We've obviously mentioned a bit of it between herself and the people at Leinster. Like Leinster don't leave us wanting for anything. They provide, in terms of nutritional talks, the benefits of it, the high class standards we have in the gym, of the facilities that are there, second to none. Like, we could ask for anything, and Leinster are willing to, if it helps the team and helps us become better players and a better team as a result of it, they've been more than happy to row in behind. That all helps. Like it takes a village to get everybody, pulling in the same direction. And as I said, all the sponsors that are involved in it as well. you know, all contributes to that. But it's the on-field stuff, the off-field stuff. It's treating it as if it's an international setup. And you've got like, so the likes of Leah, you know, Leah would be one of the more experienced players in there, despite only being early 20s, you know, and in that, and it's the girls that are coming in that are so much younger than that might have come up from the underage setups that, you know, they're watching there what's ahead of it and how the pathways are there for them. But it's been able to tick all those boxes and like doing your training, doing your extras after it, making sure you hit all your targets and asking loads of questions, being able to rely on those around you to make you a better player, and again, all driving the same goal. Everyone wants the same thing, so it's ultimately kind of drives the whole standard up, because you don't treat it any different to you would the international setup. That's where your bar is. And again, we're lucky in Leinster to have a lot of people who have been in and around that setup, so they just treat it as if it's the same, and then it's up for everybody else to come and match it then to make sure that we're all ticking the same boxes, which has been great. So
and Tanya has, you know, she has very high standards for each and every person, every position. Like there are things you have to, a certain level you have to be playing at, like to be picked, because it's so competitive, and you know, you have to constantly try and up your game. Like at the start of the year, like I wasn't even supposed to be playing centre. I was, you know, there was discussions around my my position and where I'd be playing for the season. Was initially going to be second row, and I was willing to try, because I wanted to be on the pitch. I didn't mind where I was playing once I got to play. But at the same time, the Irish setup, they saw me as more of a centre. They wanted me to play there, and they wanted me to get exposure playing there with Leinster. So Tanya kind of said to me, like, you know, you have to prove to me, you know, you have to work hard and prove to me that you can play centre. And you know, she kind of gave me that, you know, determination. Then having that conversation made me go, right, okay, I have a point to prove to myself and to the management team that I can do it. So that was my goal for that season, just to keep growing and getting better.
That would be a thing with Tanya as well, and it's to the betterment of the team, as you said. Like, it only drives you on, because for Tanya, Leinster is top tier. She's represented Ireland before herself, but Leinster is the pinnacle. So it doesn't matter whether you have 10 caps for Ireland, 1 cap for Ireland, no caps for Ireland. We're all on the same thing. You know, we're all on the same level going into it, and it's up to you to come and meet those standards that's required for Leinster, and that's the most important thing, and you must buy fully into that. And it's like, leave your egos at the door and you get down to work. And I think it's the same for us, like, despite the fact that we're lucky enough to have caps for the country, it doesn't matter. Like you said, if you're not doing the job when you're coming in and doing it in blue, if you're not showing up and applying yourself the same way as everybody else is, well, then you're not worth it to the team. So it works out for the better. As you said, it's high standards, but she's very black and white, so it's like, she will tell you,
do this or don't.
Yeah, exactly, or get out. Yeah,
so I guess I'm doing it.
It's great. It's honest feedback. We touched upon it before. It's pure honesty, and you can't but respect people for that. You mightn't like it at the time sometimes, but like, it's the same feedback you have with each other, that you kind of leave possibly your ego behind you and just be able to buy into the team.
It's all about attitude, really. Like you get given, it's not always going to be positive.
That's what feedback.
You do with it. It's just what you do with it.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
I
know when I retired from elite swimming, missing that high performance environment, just when you're held to that standard, it just brings something out of you at a different level when you're not in that environment. So I think it's a really critical piece to have that. It's something, you know, I think being able to get and receive really good constructive criticism, so important, no matter what area of life it is, whether it's sport or elsewhere, because that's that fuel that helps improve and make you better for it.
That's it, exactly, because you can plateau, you can be a really, really good player. And you can be constantly known as a really, really good player. But as Leah said, if you're not willing to adapt, you might absolutely hate it at the time, but unless you're willing to suck it up and adapt and overcome it for the betterment of the team, because it is such a team sport. Then
did I want to play second row?
She was changing to the dark side to join us.
We were happy about the move to centre, or
I was happy that she gave me the chance. Like, she gave me the opportunity to do it, and so I can't thank her enough for that. Like, she gave me the opportunity to try it and grow and learn more. Like, she didn't say, right, you're second row, you're nothing. Like, you know, she gave me the opportunity. You can be second row, but if you work really hard at centre, you can be there too. So I just had to do the work then.
Knuckle down, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was good.
Grand, brilliant. Well, the success obviously shows from the results that you were able to achieve last year.
Yeah.
Coming back and putting yourself in the position to not only win but make the final. So I think like it's a testament to your work ethic as a team and also the culture that you've built within it as well.
That's it though. I think the culture is probably, probably 70% of it. You have to have a culture. You have to have that ability to want and the want in the players to fight for each other.
Yeah.
And luckily, as I said again, like Leinster were very willing to help us in any way possible to have those days. And like we had a weekend away to Carlingford, which was great crack. Yeah, it was great crack. So it's just pure team bonding, no rugby involved.
Yeah,
really helped before we went into the whole
tough going.
Yeah.
It was like a condition.
It wasn't a rest weekend.
No, we were like have a bit of fun. No, we were climbing up poles. We were jumping off piers and we were pretty dead. We had a training match. We had a training match against Ulster before, building rafts, trying to stay afloat. So we all came out of it unscathed anyway. But those type of weekends are invaluable. You just have the fun and kind of unwind with people where it's not, in training mode or in rugby mode, and you just get to know people a bit more and kind of where they've come from, I guess, and why everyone is doing it. And it's for some girls, it's their first time to be involved in something like that, and something like that can be so daunting. So to get to know people on a kind of a personal level, it just makes such a difference when you're roaring at someone on the training pitch. They know why you're doing it and what your reasons are, or if you're getting roared at, the same thing. So those things are huge for the culture of the team. I think that was the biggest part for us probably.
Knowing how each other works, and it allows you to respect them then. If you know them off the pitch, you know them on the pitch, you want to play for them.
Exactly, definitely.
Very good. Highlights in 2023, favourite moments?
Oh, favourite moments. I think probably winning in Cork against Munster, because it was a funny one the way it worked, wasn't it? The way it was structured, and I'll be straight up and honest, I got a fair bit of stick at the end of it for thinking that when we lost our first match, I was trying to do the quick maths in my head of over the 3 games. I was like, what do we need to do now to get ourselves back? And I thought we'd blown it to a certain extent, so I did get a bit of stick for that. But I think coming back and having to play Munster first of all, and a must-win match in Energia, did that, and then knowing that we were going to have to literally turn around and go back and face them the next week when you've kind of shown your hand to them. And it's literally a case of who wanted it more. That was literally what it was. No kind of celebrations that week. It was very much down to, we'll see you next week kind of job, wasn't it? So to go down there and kind of beat them, close first half, but to beat them comprehensively in the end was incredibly satisfying. Like, it's just, as Leah said, like, you're playing against your fiercest rivals in Munster. You're also playing against girls who you play alongside in club, or who are like your best friends. Like, as I said, I was captain and it was Dorothy Wall who was captain on the other side, who'd be one of my best friends, and you're meeting each other, you're not talking to each other for the full 2 weeks before it. It's business, like not letting into the way. So it's great. It's very much getting one up on people, so it's very satisfying. But that was probably my highlight. I don't know about you.
I'd agree. I'd say that would be mine as well.
Your breakaway try.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Give us a walk through, talk through. That was a highlight for me. Yeah, that was a highlight. Leah's try. When we were down, what were we down to? About 12 players at that stage with yellow cards?
12 players, yeah.
I don't know, was it against Ulster?
Remember.
Was it against Ulster? I think it was against Ulster, wasn't it? The break with you and Ailsa.
Yeah.
We were, our discipline wasn't the best that day. We did hear about that the next week from Tanya, but Leah managed to get us out of a pickle with the breakaway with Ailsa.
It was so hot that day, that's all I can remember. I don't know
hard
how
to
I
imagine
mustered up the energy to get on her shoulder, but
it's a great break. Those kind of things are turning points, like, and it's a good buzz then to look back at and kind of get us.
The whole campaign was just really special for me because it was my first one, obviously, and I set out with the goal of just getting better every week, and I feel like I did that, and I'm proud of myself for how far I came in such a short amount of time, and the work that I did put in, and made me a better rugby player after. Like, I learned so much then going into the likes of Celtic Challenge and going back into the Irish setup, and so it just helped me so much. It's invaluable, like the things that I learned, and Tanya and the girls have taught me just so much.
It's loads there, it's great. There's plenty of highlights, to be fair. I think that winning the final and coming away with the silverware.
In the final, and also getting man of the match in the final, that was definitely
highest point.
There you go. She just slide that in there.
Make sure I get that in.
You get that one pretty close to your chest.
Put that out.
No, that's all good. I understand you used to be a GAA player. What was it that had you transition into rugby?
Actually, it was a couple of years back. My mum and dad went to a match in the Aviva, one of the men's games. And, at half time, the women's team the Irish women's team, they were doing a lap around the pitch.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at this game. It was just my mum and dad, but they came home after that and just telling us how like amazed they were, like how they didn't, you know, they saw these this group of women like professional, like not professional athletes at that stage, but you know,
showcasing what was theirs. Yeah, it wasn't in the public eye.
They were like, they were just taken aback at it, and they were like, wow, they just looked so strong and, you know, powerful. They looked amazing and all sleek in their kit and stuff, and they were just like, I have another sister like similar in age, she's I think a year older than me, 21, and at the time we were both doing GA, and I think my older sister was in TY at the time, and she wanted to pick up something new as part of there was a Gashka thing that we have to do as part of TY, and so when Mum and Dad came home and said that, they were like, look, there's no reason why you can't aspire to be like that or do something like that. Like, why not start rugby? So my sister, she took to it straight away. She was like, yeah, grand, start rugby. So I just kind of tagged along then, because I loved football, so I didn't really want to pick up something else that would hinder that. But I went along with her then, and straight away, like the first game, like I loved it, and I was like, this is so much different to football. Like, like there's a place for everyone in rugby. Yeah. And you know, there's a position for everyone in rugby.
A lot of crossover skills too.
So I love that kind of aspect about it, and just meeting loads of new people and stuff, and then I just stuck with it ever since and loved it.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. To woman of the match, if I may say, in the final.
Twice there. That's enough. Don't give her any more now.
In the first season.
Get her head out the door.
Awesome. I know, you know, myself the Australian swimming team is very much co-eds, men and women on it, but I definitely noticed you experience biases towards being a woman in elite sport. I'm just wondering if either of you have experienced any of that and how you've navigated it. For anyone else who's gone through something like that, you know?
Yeah, I suppose it's weird lucky, as Leah said, things are changing all the time, things are becoming better and better, and I think one thing that stood out for me, I was quite nearly nervous about it. We were really lucky enough, again, an opportunity given to us by Leinster to go with the trophy and go around at the men's match. Men were playing Munster in the Aviva, and to do a pitch walk with the trophy, and I think a lot of us were quite nervous because it was a packed house in the Aviva, and we were to walk around, you know, at half time with the trophy, and it was obviously set out over the loudspeaker, the tannoy, to the crowd, and it was kind of a bit of a, how's this going to be received by people? Are they going to think, you know, what are they going to think? But it was really like the reception that was given to us was unbelievable, of people actually staying and standing up in their seats and you know, encouraging us, saying well done, and it was brilliant to see, and the kind of the change in, I suppose, attitudes that's there. Yes, it's still there to a lesser or a certain extent in some aspects, but you're always going to have that, I think, to a lesser extent, but you definitely feel it getting lesser and less in society, and like definitely I think my experience of it would be nothing but positive of late, thankfully, and hopefully it'll continue to go that way. But as I said, it's the likes of Leinster and all the sponsors who row in behind, like the likes of BDO and all the others that are involved in just men and women. It's the same, it's Leinster, that's very much what Leinster. It's not Leinster's women's team, you're playing with Leinster, and you're representing the province, and it's the club, and it's the same, and it's given the same opportunities. As I said, it's that striving to get the women's team up on a semi-professional, if not professional, in the next few years, and Leinster are the ones driving that standard. They're the ones ahead of all the other provinces striving for it, and it's a case of waiting for the others to catch up a little bit with it. But all those things have been really, really good at kind of eliminating that bias with it, and kind of the feedback you see. I said Leinster are second to none as well on their social media platforms. The women's
the exposure that
it's unbelievable.
Is so great.
It's been great. Like, so they kind of do all that they can and play their part, and it's about everybody doing that. If everybody plays their part to that 1%, it all adds up to, you know, eliminating it more and more in society. So hopefully it keeps going that way.
I think so. It's going in the right direction.
Definitely.
Great. One thing I want to circle back to, you mentioned something in the Hannah, in the first game of last year. I promise I won't put you too much on the spot. It was a banana skin. What does that was
putting
mean?
it politely. So a banana skin was coming to Galway, where now I'm from Galway. This is always the big debate at home. So I have to take my Leinster gear off me when I go home, so I don't get absolutely killed. But banana skin, like you just know that when you go down to Galway and you're playing against Connacht, you know the crowd will be loud. You know the chances of it being windy and rainy are probably 100%. We got that. We got that and then some.
Yeah.
And then they just, like, Connacht, they're a good team, like they're a physical team. They, like, whereas we might say like that arguably Munster is our biggest beat now, they're all big ones.
Yeah.
But they would,
Connacht are like
the
a
level,
surprise bag. Like they
yeah,
can
you
come out
just
with
don't know what
anything.
they're going to do. It's the unknown. It's
Yeah.
the first game of the campaign. You don't know what's going to happen. And that was the case of it. Like, that was probably the most frustrating part of it. The banana skin element was, we knew going down there it was going to be tough. We knew we had our game plan. The elements we'd gone from, as you said, the sun's splitting the stones up in Dublin for our whole training. Literally in short sleeves, the whole thing. It was so hot. Go down there, horrendous weather, like a different country altogether. And you have to adapt. And unfortunately, we didn't do enough adapting at the time. Ended up getting pipped with about 5 minutes to go. Hadn't got enough time to claw it back. But it kind of, as you said, it was the making of our campaign, really. It was the rocket we needed to be like, right, we're in this now. We'll dogfight it out. And we went on then from strength to strength in the next 2 games, thankfully, and managed to get ourselves in that position to play in the final day. And did the rest, and the rest was our one. It was probably the better end of that we had that banana skin in the first game, because
it's just a wake-up call. That
that's it.
The short campaign
worked out. You learn a lot more from the things you stuff up. That you do well.
The reviews that week were fun.
Some
eye-opening stuff that week, for sure.
Well, I suppose 2024 season's coming up. I think Six Nations kicking off soon. What are you most looking forward to for the year ahead?
I think for me personally, I know it might be the same, like we're lucky enough to be involved in the training squad for the Six Nations that are coming up, and it's the same. You're just trying to improve all the time. You're trying to put yourself in that position to be, hopefully be picked for a green jersey. So I think for me anyway, it's trying to just be the best version of myself I can be, the best player I can be. You're learning the whole time, and it's very much the same kind of attitude that's within the national setup in terms of, striving, helping each other, to help yourself, to help the greater team, and kind of being able to push in that competitive environment for a spot. So that's kind of, I suppose, for the national setup is what I'm hoping for. And then, rolling into the summer, then the dates had come out again for the Interpros, which is always exciting for who doesn't love summer rugby when it's dry. It's nice. So that's exciting. That's the nice things to look forward to. So that's probably me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm lucky to be part of the training squad, and just looking to consistently just better myself and go into camp every week and just keep working on what we've learned and keep growing. And I'm still developing as a centre, so I'm learning a lot from just watching the other centres and competing against them in training sessions. And there's nothing like it, the there's nothing like, you can go out and play on the pitch, but like all the training sessions that we get, that's where you learn the most. And the coach is constantly like feeding back. Like it just gives you such an opportunity to grow and develop as a player.
Brilliant, thanks. I know there's so many unknowns every season, but back-to-backs?
Yeah, we're hoping for it anyway. We definitely don't want it to go to, it's definitely not going to be leaving the trophy cabinet. I know, it's not going to be leaving the trophy cabinet anytime soon. We'll take it. But that's the plan. That's the plan. You have to back it up, don't you? And it's nice to get the bragging rights as well for the extended period. So that would definitely be the plan amongst the friends and in the national setup as well. You get a little bit of bragging, you get a little bit of leeway to get a bit of bragging rights. So
a little bit, but then the Munster girls.
We had to listen to them for long enough, to be fair. So it's all about balance. It keeps them quiet. So that's the main thing.
And deliberately made sure I wore blue, not red today. So
good choice. Noted.
Colours were red. I made that mistake in the photos that we took. Tara's like, that's Munster's colour. I was thinking BDO.
You're trying to work.
That's right. Very good. So last question for you. On International Women's Day this year, inspiring inclusion is a theme. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on, inspiring inclusion with women in sport, and potentially what you do within the team to encourage that as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's a really good theme this year to have for International Women's Day. And I think you look within the Leinster setup, and like there's, a massive case of inclusion right throughout the squad in terms of Tanya, our head coach, being female. I think there was, other female coaches in the competition too, which shows that inclusion across the board. We also had Lisa, who was our Leinster media manager at the time, and she's gone on now to work even within the IRFU. So to see that kind of progression up through, and that she's working with us again to keep us on our toes in there is great. But I think, it's the inclusion that's there, and then inspiring it. It's like working with a team like Leinster. We're incredibly lucky. because we don't have to strive too hard for it. It's it's very much everybody working as a collective to allow the same opportunities that are there for us as players. Opportunities to come in today and do things like this is brilliant, and it's now becoming the norm for us to be able to come in and chat and kind of show ourselves as players and as people and be able to give back a little bit, the same as the men might. We're really lucky in that sense. So things are quite easy for us to be able to give them those opportunities. So it's going in the right direction again. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Looking at it from a different point of view, I'd say, going back to what I said earlier, rugby is such an inclusive sport. And going from GAA to rugby really opened my eyes to that. There, as I said before, there is a place for everyone in rugby, no matter what shapes and sizes you are, where you're coming from, what your background is, what position you want to play. Like there's a position there for everyone, no matter what attributes you have. There's a spot there for you. So I think that's really special.
So. One thing I say, which surprises some people, is that even though, like, for swimming, for example, it's a solo sport, but it's not a solo sport. To get to the level of performance you do as a team, that takes there's a whole lot of people, probably I would assume, behind the scenes supporting you that sort of help you, get to that point within the season.
I actually used to do swimming myself as
well.
well.
Oh, did you?
I was part of a swim club and used to compete at the weekends in the National Aquatic Centre. I used to go to galas there. Me and my sister. So
it is. It's all the people behind you though, or it's huge. Like your family or your friends, even. Like I think I think I've run out of fingers to count on the amount of weddings and birthdays I've said, sorry, I can't do it, or training. It just becomes the default. They're lucky still to get the invites to them at this stage. But those people supporting you, and still, being there for you and being willing to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it is fantastic. And our families as well. I know you're being a bit younger, Leah, but now that I can drive myself from A to B, but it's definitely a case of when you're a bit younger, mum and dad's taxi is clocking up the mileage everywhere, left, right and centre. So all those little bits and pieces, and even your...
But they loved it.
They loved it.
Getting up early on a Saturday or something.
Bringing you left, right and centre.
To Greystones for a match or something.
Yeah, exactly, in the mud and in the rain and standing and watching. But all those kind of little contributing factors, you couldn't do without those people. So it's huge. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we make sure we thank them for it.
Thank you. Any final thoughts to the Leinster supporters watching?
It's going to be hopefully a good season for both the men, for both the men and the women. It would be nice to rack up some more silverware over the course of the summer. So hopefully hopefully the lads can lead the way in the URC to come and the Champions Cup, and then hopefully we can tag on some more to go back to back then in the summer.
Okay, great. Thank you, brilliant. I can't thank you enough for joining us, Hannah and Lee. Thanks so much. Good luck for the season ahead, and everyone on BDO will be cheering you on.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.